Hello, and welcome back to the TVcast, the show we talk about TV shows and streaming shows, and we spoil them, because it's the original point of the other podcast we do, the spoilercast. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my sister and trusty co-host, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello. And this is episode 3 of our coverage of The Last of Us. We're going to talk about episode 3. A long, long time, I think it was called.
Just long time. There's no for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, which doesn't make sense because the line in the song is for a long, long time. Yeah. Whatever. It's cool to don't have proper grammar, I suppose. Long, long time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
straight off the bat, I am not excited for this episode. This one is the worst one yet, and I hope they change back to what they did before.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. We're recording this on a Tuesday, so everyone talked about the episode yesterday.
We're a day late. Planning
we're a day late.
And scheduling issues.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have a 9 to 5 plus 3 podcasts.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, because I was gonna get into. I had read a bunch on Twitter and blah blah blah, and because what happens in the game. I was like, okay, whatever. Let's just get into it then. What did you think of the episode?
Oh, I thought it was very boring and unnecessary, and had no point in the story.
Okay.
I might misremember the game, but I don't think this really happened. And I remember, I mix up the characters a lot. Bill being very different.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. So this was the worst episode so far.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought this was the worst episode so far. I said to myself as the credits were rolling that now it's official. I don't want to watch the show anymore. I'm gonna struggle to even finish our coverage of it because now I'm not interested anymore. First of all, we're 3 episodes in. This was the second filler episode.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna get somewhere with this?
I can accept the second episode being sort of a filler, but it's still like, they're making their way forward. They were on their way and then they got thwarted. That's fine. This one, they didn't, sure, technically they got somewhere, but we didn't get to see them getting anywhere,
No. Yeah. And I'm starting to wonder because do we even have to cover this episode was all about Frank and Bill and Frank, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bill is the main. He's the only character from the game.
Yes.
Frank is mentioned. We see his corpse
in the game. Yeah.
In the game, but that's about it. And it's kind of funny because we briefly discussed it last episode because they said go to Frank and Bill's or Bill's and Frank's or whatever.
Yeah.
So. And in the game, Joel or Tess, they're not aware of Frank, from what I understand. Because they have to explain, in the game, Bill explains, this is Frank, he was my partner when they find the body hanging in the garage or whatever it is. No, in the house. So they weren't aware. But obviously in the show they were. Okay, so that slight difference, what does it matter?
That's fine.
Yeah. But I was like, so are we gonna? I don't remember exactly what we said, but I was worried that they were gonna change it up way too much, especially since on all the promotional posters we saw Bill. He was one of the characters on the posters. Oh, yeah. Frank.
Yeah, and I think we looked it up.
He's in more than one episode, right?
Yeah, I think.
But
so.
Obviously they're gonna do.
Flashbacks.
They're just gonna do more flashbacks. That's the whole show now, I suppose. And I was just so how much I was worried that they were going to change too much, and I thought the way they dealt with this was first of all.
Wait! I have to change a fact first. Now it says 1 episode. I swear we read more than 1 episode last time.
I'm not going to go back and listen to the episode now, but
no. But I'm pretty sure we did because we reacted to it. So
Yeah.
Either way, now it says 1 episode on both of them, so we're fine, I suppose.
Yeah.
But-
Whatever. Yeah, because the thing was also that I'd read, not everywhere, but a lot of people, anyone mentioning this episode was just talking about, oh my god, it was so emotional,
Yes.
and I was crying. I never thought a window could make me cry. And I literally had a guy, I don't know why I follow him on Twitter, don't want to...
Don't add him, then.
whatever, yeah. Like, he's this React guy. He basically, you know, the one, he watches an episode of anime and says nothing, and that and then he gets thousands of views. It's like a watch-along channel. It's terrible. I hate it.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. And he posted a photo of himself with, like, misty eyes, and like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, I've seen...
Last episode, so, like, gut-punching or whatever, you know. I was like,
Yeah, no, I saw other people, like, thumbnails on YouTube and stuff, being, oh, this is the hardest episode to watch, this is so... I cried and blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna have to collect myself before I make my episode. I'm like, shut
yeah.
up.
And
I don't care if in the episode, first of all, I don't care if it's that emotional. Don't make a big deal out of it that way. Just show it in the video you're making, first of all. Second of all, I don't think I understand why. I mean, I understand why, but I don't get it.
I definitely understand why, but yeah. Like we talked about this in the first episode, I think. About when what's her? Sarah, when Sarah dies. That, both, you know, every time I played that part of the video game, I cry. I bawl my eyes out.
Yes.
Even here, then in the show, it worked. I didn't like, oh, but it was like...
It hit you.
It hit hard, yeah. This, I'm sorry, not at all.
No. I honestly got annoyed.
And I want to tread lightly here so I don't come off homophobic, but this episode made me laugh harder than any comedy I've seen, except for Jackass, in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Just to see.
You want to explain that one? Because I didn't laugh at this. I was just simply annoyed about the fact that we get to have this... Because, I mean, about an hour of this episode is centered around Bill and Frank. We literally get to see them meet, live their life for about 13 years.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
16.
And die.
Yeah, I know.
What? Yeah. Characters we never heard of. I mean, we've heard their names once before. We don't know them. We don't know who they are, what they've done or anything, what they've gone through or whatever. Now we're supposed to get to know them in an hour and then mourn them.
Well, that's like any movie. You get to know people for an hour. And then...
Yeah, but you get more information about them then.
Yeah, sure. But can I...
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You're ruining. I was going to clip this for YouTube. But anyway.
Clip it anyways.
No, I'm kidding. It's the scene where Bill... No, god damn it. Frank...
See, I mix them up too.
Frank has shown up. And I don't know why. Because I never had to think about Frank before. It was always just Bill in the video game. Frank, he fell down the pit.
Yeah.
Where they meet. And then he cooks him dinner, and they sit down by the piano, and he starts playing the I don't know what the song is called. I think it's called
the song, whatever.
He's like, no, that's not the right way, because he's playing it kind of like vaudevillian, like he's hamming it up. And then of course Bill starts playing it all somber and like and then he finishes the song. He finishes the song, and Frank goes like, "So who's the girl? The girl you were singing about?" And he's like, "There was never any girl." And then this is a close up of Bill. I mean, you saw this, but I'm explaining it for everyone. This is a pretty extreme close up of Bill, and he says, "There was never any girl," or "There wasn't a girl," and then you just see a hand land on his shoulder like dunk, and he says, and then you just hear Frank say, "I know," and I literally started screaming because that's like a gay porno. It was ridiculous. I mean,
yeah, it did. All of the entire thing felt like a very strange gay porno.
and he looks so like he's supposed to be like nervous because obviously like he has been in the closet his entire life.
Oh yeah,
and now his gaydar is flashing because What are the fucking odds
Yeah.
that the only person he ever meets, one of 3 people he ever meets in 16 years, in 20 years technically,
Nah, that was before that. They spent 10 years together.
No, but I mean 20 years since the pandemic happened.
I suppose.
Yeah, it happens to be another gay guy. Whatever. But he, instead of looking like nervous, he just looks scared.
Yes.
Nick Offerman is like, oh.
He looks terrified.
And it's just like, don't worry, little boy, I'll be real gentle. That was the vibe I got.
Doesn't he also say, like, go shower?
I know, yeah. Now go take a shower. After they awkwardly kiss.
Yeah.
I screamed and laughed.
I cringed.
I had tears in my eyes, but not from crying. I had to rewind just to hear what he said when he said, "No, go take a shower," because I couldn't hear it because I was just screaming, laughing. It was the most awkward thing I've seen ever.
Yeah.
And then he comes out of the bathroom with the towel around him, and he's like, "Oh, is that okay, mister?" Basically, it was just so awkward. It was not romantic at all.
No.
Not even oh, I'm nervous because it's the first time or whatever. Like, it was just awkward.
Yes, and I don't really see the point of it.
Me neither, to be honest. It has nothing to do with the story.
And I wanted
like,
Bill from the video games. Or the video game.
You're giving us backstory for characters that are not going to be in the rest of the show. Like, it's, and it's, you know what it is? It's world building, and it's
sure.
I'm known on the internet for hating world building because it doesn't add anything to the story. It adds to the world around the story.
I can appreciate some world building sometimes, and I'm sure it would have been. It was nice to see Bill and Frank talk with Tess and Joel with that little thing, because it showed us, oh, there's a connection here. Joel knows these people,
but we already knew that.
Sure, but that one scene with the lunch, that would have been enough. We didn't need to know every single detail about Frank becoming sick. That also was very strange. That night when they got attacked. Bill gets shot, and they flash back to 10 years later when Frank's... Oh, yeah, flash forward. Yeah. When Frank's in a wheelchair. I'm like, hold up, he didn't get shot. Bill got shot.
There should have been a scene in between there when they were both fine again. Yeah.
To explain that, oh, Frank got sick.
Yeah, it was...
That was very odd.
Very odd.
I rewound that like 4 times, but did I miss something? Did Frank get shot? Like, what? Where? When? Where? How? How did he end up in a wheelchair? No, he's sick. What kind of sick? I don't fucking know. Something that requires an MRI.
It's the Hollywood it's the Hollywood disease that only affects wives, but now I guess it affects husbands as well.
I mean, yeah, married spouses.
yeah, exactly, the spouse. Yeah.
Because I mean, they did get married eventually, which also was...
Yeah, it was...
if you really... Like, why haven't you just done that before then? Is that really your dying wish?
Yeah, I don't know.
To have a wedding ceremony to yourself? I thought weddings were things you wanted to celebrate with friends and family.
No, but it's, because it's their last day, so they're going to do everything they didn't get to do, whatever. I don't know.
I suppose. Over the 10 years, you probably would have done it, though, right?
Yeah, but it's more... effectful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
It didn't work on me.
That didn't bother me, that they got married the last day. I get it. It's a romantic gesture, whatever.
Sure, I guess. It was... it's just... I wanted to have the Bill that has the booby traps, and I wanted to see Ellie and Joel have to, like, run through the... I remember it, like, being, like, a scrapyard part, or, like, up and down buses and shit to get to a garage... Sort of, fighting clickers and booby traps and climbing and shit, and then having to have like almost a gunfight with Bill because he's so paranoid he thinks they're raiders or something.
Yeah.
Where was that?
It wasn't there.
No.
Yeah, we got to see some booby traps.
Bill, sure. And we got to see Bill being paranoid towards others, and mostly government people in that one fight with the random raiders.
What?
Wait, where there were... No, but the first time, when they're rounding everyone up
Sure. Yeah.
He's just sitting there, not today, you feds, or something.
Yeah, you jackbooted something.
Imperials or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Like, where was the action? Where were the booby traps?
And there we come to another problem once again with this show. I don't know who wrote this, because when you look it up, it's not directed by Neil Druckmann this time.
No, it's Peter Hoare.
Peter Hoare, kind of funny, but it's not spelled the same way. But if you look up the writers, it just says Neil Druckmann and Craig Mason, but it says based on the video game and then created for television, but it doesn't say who actually wrote the episode. So I don't know.
Right.
The thing with Bill as a character in the video game. Once again, we're judging this based on the video game, which as its own episode of TV, I can't divorce this from the video game because it was so different now. I'm sorry.
Even then, even as just an episode, this episode is pointless and boring.
Yeah. I think I know what they're doing. We'll get to that. I just want to because in the video game, we get to know Bill before we even see Bill. First, through Joel explaining that he's special, he's a little paranoid.
Yeah.
But then we get to the town, and like the zombies aren't the worst threat there. It's the traps, the booby traps.
Exactly.
And then they get stuck in the booby traps, and then the zombies come and everything. And it tells us who Bill is. So we're like, when he shows up, we're like, oh yeah, it makes total sense that he's like screaming and he is nervous and he doesn't trust them because obviously this is a very, very paranoid man. He's living alone in this huge town. The entire town is booby trapped.
Yeah.
And he's very closed up, so closed up that even though he's had a trading professional relationship, whatever you want to call it, with Joel and Tess for a long time, they didn't even know he had I don't know what they were in the video game, partner
of some sorts.
He never told them about Frank.
Yeah,
about Frank. Because he's so paranoid. So when they finally find Frank's body, they do know of Frank, but he says Frank's not. No. He says there was a guy and he left. That's all he says in the video game.
And then they find him hanging, and they're like,
he says,
he left that way.
Yeah, and he says, this is Frank. He was my partner. And Joel's like, oh, I'm sorry. I know how it feels to lose a partner, blah, 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 or lose to someone.
Yeah.
That's it. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then he kind of softens, like he stops screaming because he didn't even know that Frank had hanged himself. They find he was bitten. That's why he did it. That's why he ran away. And his entire personality changes, and we realize without him saying a word, we're like, oh, it's not just partner, it's partner.
They're very close.
Yeah, a romantic partner, not just survival partner.
Yeah.
And you understand. I didn't understand it then because I was too young, but later on, it's obvious,
Sure.
Which they hammer home later in the video game a little awkward when. I don't know if you remember when they're driving in the car and Ellie stole one of Bill's magazines.
Right.
You shouldn't have taken that. That's not yours, but yeah, whatever. Oh, it's all naked people, but they're all dudes. That's weird.
Yeah.
And he's like, get rid of that. And she's like, so long, dude, and throws it out. It's like, oh, yeah.
Right.
You just had to say he was okay, whatever. But you kind of get it.
It's also Ellie's exploration because she probably never met a gay person before. I don't know.
Well, she is gay.
Oh, that's true, but. Well, in the first game, is she?
No, she isn't. They never explore her sexuality because she's a child. So
exactly, that's what I mean.
They don't talk about her sexuality, which is even weirder than when they do explore it in the DLC. She's younger. She's 11 in that
that's
one.
Right. But,
which was always awkward for me. Why are we doing this with an 11-year-old? Why isn't she 15 at least, or something, a teenager?
Yeah, I mean, in the sequel, it makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Because she started to explore that stuff.
Or something, yeah.
She's old enough.
Anyway. Yeah. Anyway,
that's the Bill I wanted in the episode.
Yeah, and there the storytelling is subtle.
Yeah.
We get details about the world, but it's still intimately connected to the actual plot of what's going on with Joel and Ellie, the important characters.
Yes.
We see that, like, this is what the world does to a person. He becomes paranoid and afraid, to the point where, you know, he barely shows any emotions when his lover is hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, whatever. He was, he whatever. I don't remember what he says. He like tries to play it off in the video game. Here, we don't get that. Instead, they spend an entire hour showing us two characters that we know are going to die. Or at least we know one of them are going to die in the end.
Yeah.
And the only reason I can see why they did this is because that the TV show has a completely different agenda or story it wants to tell than the video game, and that is to show like more fates, more people, more stories than just Joel and Ellie, telling the story of The Last of Us.
Yes.
So then we might even get more stuff like this in the future. And
I hope not.
No, because that's not what the video game was. Like,
I mean, even if we do get, I can accept in small doses. I cannot accept a full episode on just them. It should have been, I don't know, it could have been more effective even if freaking Ellie and Joel got there on the way. Joel tells Ellie that, you know what, be careful when you get there. Bill's a bit paranoid. He doesn't like new people. Definitely don't show him you've been bitten. That kind of thing. And then they show up. Bill threatens them. He calms down. They go in. They have food. He starts talking and Joel goes, hey, where's Frank? And then we get a little bit of what happened, maybe. Maybe. A little bit. But still, just have it be them going somewhere. I like the part where Ellie asked about planes, because she's never been in one.
Yeah.
That's fine. I like when they got in the car and she doesn't know what a seatbelt is. Because she's never been in the car.
That was a great, once again, that was good, like, environmental storytelling, which also I'm not really a fan of, not in video games, but in a TV show. Like, he had to, like, reach over and put the seatbelt on her, like you do with a child.
Yes.
That was like, and you saw, like, he was a little bit awkward, but he was like, that was the moment, boop, and he just started caring a little bit about her.
Yeah.
So simple.
But so effective.
You see, yeah, but so effective. So effective. Like, put your seatbelt on. She's like, what the fuck is a seatbelt?
Yeah.
He has to reach over her, grab it, and you see it in his eyes.
Yes.
It didn't take an hour and 16 years of a relationship to, like, make us, like, care about the characters.
No.
So simple. Simple, subtle storytelling. Like in the video game, where all we get is, this is Frank. He was my partner. And his demeanor just softens so much. He's like, oh. And that's very sad. Not cry, I'm going to cry and write about it on Twitter sad, but it's sad. That even Bill, this paranoid maniac who might shoot you even though you're his friend, could actually have feelings for another person, and you get that in just that when he says, this is Frank, he was my partner. That's it!
Yeah.
That's it!
I didn't like that they tried to, like, shove another storyline, another fate, another life on us to just, I don't know, to fill out the season. I mean, I don't remember the game beat by beat, but I can assure you that there are other things you could have shown. That could have been an entire episode. Even just surrounding Bill.
Yeah.
We didn't need to have this.
This could have been them walking through a dilapidated town.
Yes.
You could have the moment with the fireflies, because when this
that's
episode,
when they fight
so
in the cafe or something, right?
Well, they walk through a bunch of shops. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the one where she finds the LP records. And she's like, what's this? And he's like, we used to play music on these. Like, oh, okay. And you know, because we talked about, they did do the speech, though, that we talked about in the last episode. When he says, let's get a couple of things straight. You don't mention Tess ever again. Yes. But in the end of this episode, it was like, you got that whole speech. So I was, okay, at least they got that in. Because it's a good speech to really, like, once again, flesh out his character and show how detached he is. Which was then weird that he kind of opened up, just minuscule, but still opened up with the whole seatbelt thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, What
But
do I know?
we got bits
I don't
and
write
pieces of
for
that
TV.
as well. When she's like, "Oh, we're going that way, right?" And he's like, "No, we're gonna go this way. There's something I don't want you to see." He cares, obviously, because she's a child. She's an innocent. She shouldn't have to see a mass grave.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So this, so to speak, episode where they get to the town, because it is literally like Fade to Black in the video game after that speech, and they get to this part. They're walking through the forest, and it's like, it's the magic hour when the sun is all amber before it sets. And it's like an iconic moment, because they walk through the forest, and there's like a little puddle of water in the middle of the forest with I think it's a stork or some sort of big bird in it that flies away as they walk up to it.
Right.
And they walk up the hill, and there you see the town, and they walk past a little whatever electrical plant that supplies the city with power.
Yeah.
And there she's like, Ellie stops and like, whoa, look at this, and there's a bunch of fireflies around her. So look, and they actually land on her.
Yeah.
Look, you could have that. Look, fireflies. Haha, that's ironic. And then
that
they
would
get
have
into
been 5 minutes at least.
Yeah, and then they got into the town, and like, be careful now, this whole place is booby trapped.
Yeah.
And then they get the whole thing where he gets stuck in a snare, hanging upside down. Right. She has to cut the rope of the refrigerator while the fucking zombies start coming in.
Yeah.
That could have been a tense moment.
That could have been another almost 20 minutes if they really wanted to.
Yeah, and I understand that they can't have the entire sequence, because that would be
sure,
way too expensive. But you could have some zombies and some booby traps.
Some of it could have been just them roaming through empty stores, seeing if there's anything to get, seeing if there's any valuables
which we did
left.
Get, but it was this random house in the forest where they kept things.
It was a really random convenience store, and there was one half-dead clicker that she sliced for some reason.
I almost like...
Curiosity, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of like, oh, that's weird, because that was
a bit
human
morbid.
One, but then she stabbed it, so I get it. Okay, that's good. Because I really said, don't be weird, either stab it or get out of here. So I just said to myself when I was watching it.
Speaking of that, I thought I saw him. Yeah, Infected Man in Cellar. He's also in 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm wondering if they come back that way, or if he plays 2 different characters, or if, just like with Bill and Frank, it's the wrong info on IMDb until the next episode is released.
We'll see.
We'll see. Oh, that's one thing I was weirded out by as well. There was no real cold open here.
No, that was weird.
Because even when you started the episode, you just had the intro, which is like a minute long, and then
you've always had a cold open. Yeah.
Why switch that after just 2 episodes? Because
the whole episode was a flashback.
Yeah, I suppose that was the cold open. So it would be weird
to have a flashback, then have them walking around for 10 minutes, and then have the rest of the episode be a flashback. Yeah, that would have been weird. The
cold open could have been Bill and Frank then for 5 minutes, and then Joel and Ellie could have gotten there.
That could have been funny. If the cold open was an hour long, then we get the intro, and then we get the last 25 minutes with them. That would have been funny.
Would have been funny, but I did not mean that way.
No, I understand. Yeah, I was just thoroughly disappointed in this episode.
Yeah, me too.
And even on a not just comparing it to the video game,
as an episode, just
it was not effective. It was wasted time.
Even the way they write out the blurb on IMDb makes it sound like it's part of something else. Like it's a spin-off or something. When a stranger approaches his compound, survivalist Bill forges an unlikely connection. Later, Joel and Ellie seeks Bill's guidance.
Yeah.
So it's about Bill, it's not about Joel and Ellie, who are supposed to be the main characters, who we're supposed to follow on their journey to, first off, find Tommy, and second of all, get her to the Firefly so they can do whatever they need to do with her.
Yeah.
Why is this even centered around Bill, this random character that we've heard of once?
That's what I'm saying. They might have a different point they want to make with this TV show.
They should have started with that in the second episode already. Then it should have been a whole, I don't know, about Tess and Joel and their life before this, or whatever, or before Ellie at least.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they didn't, the theme has changed completely since the last two episodes. Or since the first two episodes, I mean. The third one is vastly different in theme and composition and everything. It's a new show, almost.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm so disappointed and so annoyed, and I hope to God we get to see Ellie and Joel just making their way towards Tommy in the next episode. Because if not, then I'm on your side. I'm almost giving up on this. I'll give it one more episode. If they fuck it up again, I'm done.
Yeah.
Not that they care, but...
Yeah, I don't think...
we don't have an impact, but still.
I don't think we even have, like... any impact at all.
No, I mean every episode is already done, probably.
Yes, and they've already. I don't know if you heard that, but they've already greenlit the second season, which I'm like, oh no.
And I also heard that they're already starting to work on the third game, which for me is just so we can make another season.
But I heard that might have just have been bullshit.
Oh, thank God.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I hope
saw
not.
it on one of those official video game sites. I don't remember which one, if it's IGN or something else.
I don't. The song is called Long, Long Time, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't also understand what the third game is going to be about.
No,
exactly. 'Cause if you know how the second one ends, it's like, how are you going to build from that?
I don't remember how the second one ends. I haven't played it, so I should know.
No, but I know how it ends, because I was like, I'm never going to play this, but I want to know how it ends. I've watched, videos about it.
I do want to play the first and second game now, because it is such a fantastic story.
But you said you knew how the second game ends.
I don't remember at the moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the worst ending ever. It's, fuck it.
Go for it.
And it's so endemic of why I think Neil Druckmann, the guy who made these, he kind of a one-hit wonder. He had The Last of Us, and I was like, oh man, that was just the story he wanted to tell. But other than that, he wrote Uncharted 4, which was good, but it was not the best Uncharted 4. And then he wrote and made The Last of Us Part 2, which is terrible. And then he's involved in this, which started out good, and now it's just getting worse. But, the ending of The Last of Us 2 is, the whole game is she's going on a violent revenge mission to avenge Joel's death.
To kill the Ronda Rousey-looking character.
Yeah, whatever her name is. Who it turns out she was the child of the doctor that Joel shot in the first game, which is so random. It's like, oh, come on. Anyway, and the whole game is about how revenge is never a solution to anything.
It's never the answer.
It's never revenge is never. If you're hold the whole, you gotta dig 2 graves if you're looking for revenge or something. That's the whole thing, because it's never gonna work out. That's entire over and over again. They make this because she's systematically killing off all the people that were involved in killing Joel. Including a pregnant woman, and it's every time she kills one of the people on this list or whatever, it's set up she's questioning, more and more questioning why she's doing this. Which is kind of ludonarrative dissonance. Because she doesn't question killing everyone else in the game, but whatever. And then when she finally realizes that there's no point to this. Revenge is not the answer. She goes on to have a life with whatever the lady is, from the beginning of the game. Yeah. And they even have a kid. I don't know where the kid comes from. But they have a kid. And then, I don't remember how, but she after they've been living together on a farm for a long time, she's like, I have to go do this. And then she looks up, she leaves, even though whatever her name is, her partner is if you do this, I'm leaving. I thought we were done with this. She goes and finds the lady who killed Joel. But at this point, she's been captured by the crazy religious cult in the game.
Oh, that's right.
She's not big and bulky and imposing anymore. She's starved, and she looks she finds her crucified or something.
Yeah.
And then they still fight. I'm still gonna, she doesn't have any pity for her now, showing we're all just stuck in this crazy world. No, they still fight. And but Ellie doesn't win. The girl like runs away in a boat or something. After she wins the fight, and then Ellie goes back to the farm, and her girlfriend or partner has left with the kid, and she's alone. And it's like, what? How is that an ending to? That is the worst ending ever. Like, I guess it's supposed to like hammer home, like you see how revenge spoils everything. Like, yes, we knew that, we saw that when she killed the pregnant woman. Like, we get it. It's too on the nose. Just like this episode was. Like, we don't need an hour to feel emotions for a character if you're just efficient and good enough with your writing.
Exactly.
That's the problem. It's so on the nose. Like, well, you really need to get to know these characters so that you cry in the end when they both die in each other's arms. Like,
see, no, you don't. Even though we spent an hour with them, I don't feel like I know them.
No, because we don't really get a lot of... There's not a lot there.
There's like a couple of... they have a nice dinner. There's the lunch with with Joel and Tess.
Yes. There's the attack.
There's the attack. There's some bickering. And then it's him being sick. Yeah. Where was the best days he's ever spent with someone? He's never spent so many good days with a person before. Where were those days? Yeah. We only saw them basically being mad at each other.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true. They were mad at each other once, and that's when he said, I want to fix the town up. Yeah,
and then Bill was really annoyed with Tess being allowed to see the house.
Yeah, but that was just him being nervous. That was not that. Yeah, I don't count.
But you know what I mean. It's not like that was the best day ever. Not what we saw. The only good thing we see is the strawberries.
Oh yeah, the strawberries. Yeah,
but that's about it.
No, the strawberries and the painting and them hanging out. It was fine. It was fine. You can't. Sure. What do you want them to do? Frolicking around in the meadows? What do you want? Like, no, that's even more. That's even more on the nose.
I didn't want this at all. That's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I'm just finding problems with things I never wanted in the first place.
Of course. But do you know? Like, there's two examples, both of them animated, of how you tell an entire lifelong love story, but you do it in like. 5 minutes? You have the opening of Up.
Oh, yes.
Which is, if you want to ever, like...
Experience life.
First of all, it's done without dialogue, which always helps.
Yes.
Because you have to really focus on, like, faces, and the music does a lot of the work there.
Yeah, it's just emotions. It's not telling you.
We don't even... I mean, I was going to say we don't even get... But no, we get to know the characters quite a lot in those 5 minutes. Yeah. And it's all the stuff that you need to know. It's not a bunch of... extra shit. Yeah. It's exactly what you need to, when she dies in the end. I don't think anyone has ever watched it and said, no, I didn't cry. Because that is some of the most, like...
Well, I don't know if I cried, but I was emotional.
It was so sad. And then, the second one is from an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think it's called The Gang Saves the Day. They're in a convenience store because Frank, Donaghy's character is called Frank. He wants to show them...
Another crazy person. No, Bill was the crazy person here. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Frank wants to show them this great hot dog place he found, and it's just a convenience store with shitty hot dogs in it. But as they're there to buy the hot dogs, this place gets robbed, and we get to see each character in the gang, like, think what they would do to save the day. And Charlie's version is, first of all, it becomes animated, because he's crazy.
Yes.
And it doesn't just end with him saving the day, which he does, though, by throwing Dee in front of the fire, because the waitress walks in. I don't know if you know much about It's Always Sunny.
No, not really. I know a little.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, the woman he's been stalking for like 10 years walks into the convenience store, and the robber is going to shoot her, so he throws the girl in the gang, Dee, in front of the gun, and then he kicks the robber's ass, and, the waitress has always been very standoffish towards him because he's crazy and stalking her. But of course, it's his dream, so she's like, "You saved my life." She's like, "Of course I love you." And they kiss, And then it becomes the Up. It's basically it's based on the Up scene. So,
of course.
Yeah, they get married. They have kids. There's a little bit of Ratatouille in there because Charlie is the Rat King. So he has like rats prepare the wedding and stuff.
Oh God.
And they grow old together. But then of course, they wave goodbye to all their children. All the sons become janitors, like Charlie, and all the daughters become waitresses, like the waitress.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And then, but one day when they're waving goodbye to all the children, she falls ill, and she dies. And everyone gathers. All the children, like 20 children, all gather around as they bury her under the tree next to their house, the house where they've spent their entire life together. And they're all really sad. But then eventually the children have to leave because they have their own houses now. And he just sits there by himself. And it's super sad. And this is literally 3 minutes. And then eventually he disappears from the picture. And then we see another grave next to her. And it's just like, oh. But at the same time, it's super sad because they died. But they had an entire life together. It's so beautiful. Swoop back to the episode and the robber and everything. But it's so effective. There's zero fact in that story, and that's why it works. This is an hour, and all it made me do was laugh, like hysterically, at the awkward gay porno.
Yeah.
It was the worst. This was terrible. And it's just so emotionally manipulative. And also, there's a bit of gay erasure here. Like, why didn't they actually get a gay actor to play Bill? Why did he get Nick Offerman to play Bill?
Oh.
Other than, of course, he kind of looks like Bill.
Sure.
But I'm sure there's some bearded gay men in Hollywood.
I mean, they didn't care about that when casting other people, so...
Yeah.
Why would they care about that for this?
I'm just saying. They took a gay man's job.
If anyway. We're gonna be that one.
What?
If we're gonna be that way, sure, yes.
Yeah. So I did not like this.
No. Me neither.
For what it was well made. But we already know that. And Nick Offerman and whoever the other guy was, I didn't recognize him.
Murray Bartlett.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
No, I didn't recognize him.
No clue.
They both did a pretty good job acting,
Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the technical aspects. It's the writing that sucked.
Yes, the writing was terrible.
And so unnecessary, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. It's like we said, 2 out of 3 episodes now is just filler.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
At least I liked the second episode. I didn't like this one.
Yeah, I was neutral to the second one. Yeah, and I didn't.
There was some action. There was a really cool clicker reveal and fight scene, and we got to actually see the city a little bit, not just one house in the street.
Yeah, I suppose.
In the middle of nowhere and a few fields around it. This also feels like it's the cheapest episode they did so far. Because they didn't need to do like a lot of makeup for any clickers, really. Yeah. There was literally one house in the street.
Yeah.
And the plane in the distance was not there, I can tell you that much.
It's just CG or a model, yeah.
Like,
yeah. And that's what I'm we talked about that a little bit in the last episode as well. Like, I'm wondering if they kind of miscalculated, like, and when they like started writing the show, and like
how many episodes they would need.
no, not that, but like, we're writing like a $400 million show here, but we only have like $100 million because it's HBO, so they have money.
Yeah,
and they're kind of cutting corners because it didn't look cheap, but it's obviously like they're not. They're like shying away from showing much of the world because that would probably be too expensive.
Yeah, because it takes more work and more props and CGI and shit.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can adapt the story of The Last of Us and do it cheap. I mean, you could. If you just did it about Joel and Ellie.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Walking around the woods.
Be on the streets.
Pull a low-budget B trash movie from the 80s. Just shoot it in the desert. Shoot it in the woods.
Yeah. Have them drive along empty roads in the middle of the night. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
they do have a car now, so they're probably going to drive some more. We might get that in the next episode.
Yeah. I'm guessing the next episode, I'm just looking, because there's a name of it. Please hold on to my hand. It doesn't say anything about the plot, but there are pictures. And yeah, it's going to be the scene where there's a guy in the street, which we talked about in the last episode. They're going to sit in the car and she's like, they're going to see a guy in the street. Ellie's going to go like, oh, should we pick him up? So no, this is bad. This is really bad. And then they get stuck in a radar trap. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here in the pictures. So yeah,
basically,
they're going to crash into something because the windshield is broken here.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Great.
We'll see that one, and then we'll see if we continue.
I'm really looking forward to the next episode. It's kind of funny because I kind of, without really knowing it, I kind of saw this coming because on Twitter I'm following some people who are just not into this at all. Even after the first 2 episodes, and I was like, yeah, it's not. And I mentioned because they called it piece of shit or something. I was like, yeah, it's not the greatest ever, but so far it's good. But now I'm like, maybe they're right. Well, yeah, I'm hoping that it'll pick up because I want this to be good. Of course I want it to be good.
Yeah.
It's based on one of my favorite video games of all time. But as it's looking right now, it's not gonna.
No, like I said, we'll see after next week's episode if we actually even continue with this shit.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. And if you want to, support us more than just checking us out, of course, on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. We have a bunch of exclusive episodes of my other podcasts, including the unaired pilot of this series. You can check it out. There's commentary tracks, some exclusive videos, literally hundreds of hours of extra content. So, and all for just $3 a month. So check it out, patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. But other than that, we will see you in the next episode. Until then, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. The TVcast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It's produced and directed by Tobias Vedén, hosted by Tobias and Rebecca Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén and Laura Kinney. I also want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Laura Kinney, Mom, Dad, Danny Del Gaiso, and Mac and Mom.